How you guys doing today? This is Hot Take with Jon and Daniel. This is your boy Jon.
This is Daniel. What's going on, guys?
And you're listening to the January 16 issue Conference Championship games. Daniel, walk me through the catch. Everybody knows what catch I'm talking about that's listening to the podcast.
All right, gun formation. Stephon Diggs in the slot. Case Keenum drop back. Perfect throw. Corner route by Stephon Diggs. The catch. Oh my gosh. They're in the cover 2, Jon. What's going on?
Why are you in a cover 2? Let me walk you through this. Anybody who plays football understands what I'm saying. If you're not, just try to follow along. 4 seconds left on the clock. So your one job is literally to catch a guy and wrap him up and let the clock tick out. You don't really have to do much. You don't have to pick the ball up. You don't even have to tackle him. You don't have to make a great play.
Just hold him up.
Just don't let him catch the ball and step out of bounds. And don't let him score a touchdown. It sounds pretty simple. And if you're an NFL defensive coordinator and you're being paid $1 million to figure this out, I mean, hindsight is 2020, but we knew this.
And they called a timeout before the play.
Yeah, all you have to do is
stop the clock.
Just look at your boys and say, hey, don't do anything stupid. You're in the NFL for a reason.
Back up and don't let anything get past you. Don't let anybody get wide on you, get out of bounds, and just play football. It's not that hard.
I would have 7 defensive backs on the field and 4 D linemen.
I agree.
Because you don't have to worry about the run. Let Case Keenum run. Let him leave the pocket. Just don't let a long bomb and let the guy get out of bounds. You can have a pass that ends on a 2-yard line if you can hold him up for like the last 2 seconds.
As long as you don't let him extend over the line.
As long as you let him score.
Don't let him score. You're fine. But
then he has 3 guys playing in the middle of the field. He has guys underneath. Then he has no one on the sideline.
And you leave this rookie safety on his own to make the biggest tackle of his career.
Like, everybody's mad at Williams. I'm not mad at Williams. I'm mad at whoever the Saints defensive coordinator is because he should be fired.
Once it gets to the NFL and the best players on the team are on the field, it's up to coaching.
It is. It's up to coaching.
I mean, he thought he was doing his job. He thought he was in the right position to make the play, which in the way he was, people can argue that he was, but the coach literally, he was by himself.
But let's not discredit Case Keenum game.
Did a good job.
And since we're talking about the baller, formerly known as Case Keenum, now he's known as Mr. MVP 1 vote. Not MVP. MVP, a singular vote for MVP. My singular vote. If I had a vote for MVP, it would be going to Case Keenum because everybody else is voting for Tom Brady.
Yes, sir.
I feel like it's going to be like 2 other people that will vote for Todd Gurley, but it should be Tom Brady. Tom Brady's the MVP. So before anybody makes jokes about this and blows me up talking about, oh, you said Case. Nope, Tom Brady's MVP. But talk me through Vikings, Eagles this week. Who you're taking?
Vikings, Eagles. Well, Case Keenum will have a day.
He will ball.
And Nick Foles will have one of the worst games of his life. I feel bad for him. I feel like when you send a kid who can't read to go in front of the class and read.
And we all know that kid can't read.
And we feel bad for the kid.
And you don't want to laugh at him.
Blame the teacher because the teacher knew before they called on the kid.
And that is what they're doing by sending Nick Foles against this Vikings defense. That was I'm still laughing about that imagery, but Nick Foles is going against Xavier Rhodes. Wow.
Nick Foles.
Eric Kendricks.
I hope Nick Foles in his mind is just going crazy in the film room. I hope he's just practicing as much as he can. He needs to take no days off. Okay, I don't care if they say it's a day off. He needs to come in anyway.
I hope he's playing Madden as himself and playing against the Eagles.
I hope.
You know the awkward thing about it. He probably has to sub himself into the game.
That's the thing. That's what I was gonna say. I don't think he needs that imagery in his mind.
I think he probably has to sub Carson Wentz out. Well, I mean, if you have to Madden update it, you don't have to.
But yeah, it's gonna be a rough game for Nick Foles. But hopefully he doesn't look too crazy. But Vikings are going to the Super Bowl in Minnesota. Props to them.
Let me go a little bit in depth right here. How I see the game going. Why I think Nick Foles and Case Keenum matchup is so important. Why everybody's talking about the defense in the rush games. Yes, the Eagles have a great rush game. Jay Ajayi is nice. You're looking at me like you don't agree.
I don't like Jay Ajayi.
You're not a fan?
I'm not a fan.
Did you see the screen?
He's 220, man. He's 220, and he doesn't truck anybody. No pad level. I mean,
big boys get groovy too.
They can be finesse, but you have to have both sides of the game at least. It's like he's 220 and he wants to be Barry Sanders out there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you that one. The Eagles, that's what I was saying, the Eagles' run defense is good. The Vikings' run defense is just as good. The Eagles have about 10 yards per game more than the Vikes. The Vikes have 15 rushing touchdowns to the Eagles' 9. So, pretty even. The Eagles' rush defense is number 1 with that boy Fletcher Cox.
Yeah.
Nice guy. Nice as in football. Vikings are number 2. Vikings are number 2. So that means the game is going to come down to pass rush, pass defense, quarterback play. So I'm going to talk you through Case Keenum versus Nick Foles. Daniel's going to talk to you about how important it is for Lane Johnson to keep, I forgot his name, Nick Foles standing.
Okay. Well, let me just say, Everson Griffin, Darrell Hunter, Anthony Barr, that A gap on that linebacker blitz.
Lane Johnson at the tackle is going to have a
Lane
hell of a
Johnson
day.
is going to have to corral the troops. He's going to have to tell the rest of the boys, it's all right. We can do this.
They're walking into hell.
All right. I feel bad. They're in the worst position for a team. They are in the worst possible position for a team to be in. All right. They've had a miracle game against Atlanta. Not really a miracle game, but sure, it was lucky.
I won't say Nick Foles had a great game on the Eagles. I'll say Matt Ryan and Julio Jones self-destruct.
But Nick Foles will not do that against Minnesota.
Oh, no, he wouldn't.
That's why John brings up Minnesota's defense. Xavier Rhodes.
All right, let me talk you through this one. Case Keenum versus Nick Foles. Case Keenum proved to us next week that he can play. Not just manage a game, he can ball out on a high-stake game. I'm not just talking about the last play of the game, because that's what everybody's mind jumped to. Case Keenum balled out that first half. He balled out that first half. And me and my colleague, Dane, we were talking earlier, and I was like, well, he didn't do as good as the second half. What did you say about that?
Well, when you look at it, he went back to his game manager for a little while.
He managed the game.
Run the ball, punt the ball, make them do something. Even though that might have been the best decision for Drew Brees.
Run the clock out on Drew Brees.
They were down to 10 seconds.
So it's not on Case Keenum, it's on Mark Zimmer.
It's on Mark Zimmer. Mark
Zimmer wanted to manage the game, and Case Keenum was a good soldier.
I feel like Case Keenum was just, he's like a dog who's chomping at the bit. He wanted to blow him out.
Because that first half, he was...
I mean, if you're up 17-0 and you're like, everybody's talking about your game manager, I want to drop 40 on you.
It becomes personal. And if he dropped 40 on Drew Brees, if he out-quarterbacked, because the first half, he out-quarterbacked Drew Brees. Second half, Drew Brees
went back to his old self.
Yeah, he probably had one of the greatest games that no one will ever remember. It's so sad when you say it out loud. Probably the second greatest comeback that no one will ever talk about ever again because he lost. But Case Keenum balled out. He did. He was a baller.
I have a question. Do you believe
in miracles?
That Case Keenum will ball out against
Do you believe in magic?
Philadelphia secondary. Who was a prideful secondary. Who believes they carry the team in a way.
Do I think Case Keenum will ball out against the Philadelphia secondary? I do. But more importantly, I feel like Nick Foles did enough to win the game against the Falcons. He's not going to have that privilege against the Vikings.
So you're saying that Nick Foles will be the
J.J. is no Camaro. We know that.
I agree.
Eric Kendrick is probably the best covered linebacker in the league.
That screen, there will not be a 30-yard screen by J.J. this coming weekend. All right.
Then you have Anthony Barr. Aaron Rodgers fans know where I'm going with this. Anthony Barr will be coming off the edge, pressuring Nick Foles. I'm not even talking about the Vikings D-line since he touched it earlier. Then you have to throw it on Xavier Rhodes.
Trey Waynes.
Sendejo may be out. Sendejo's in the concussion protocol.
But that man, Harrison the Hitman Smith.
Yeah, you have Harrison Smith, you have Trey Waynes, you have Xavier Rhodes. Nick Foles does not have the weapons to pick apart. They can play 7 men in a box
and still
cover you. Because Trey Waynes and Xavier Rhodes to me, they're the best pass defense in the league.
I feel like the best balanced pass defense.
Yeah, I mean, Jaguars does have Jalen Ramsey, who is just a phenom. He's a walking island.
But Bouye is not Trey Waynes.
He's not.
If you substitute Trey Waynes for Bouye, that Jacksonville defense gets even scarier.
If I can have Bouye and Ramsey or Trey Waynes and Xavier Rhodes. As a combination, I'm going Trey Waynes and Xavier Rhodes every day. Let me talk to you something, because you're a football player. I'm a football player. Or we were football players. We have a combined experience of 20 years. Nick not Nick Folk, Case Keenum, the Vikings. Do you believe in magic? What I was thinking earlier.
I don't think that was magic.
Do you think you ever have that aura around?
Oh yeah, okay. When you're playing the game of football, it's like basketball. They say runs.
You get
Football
hot.
is strictly momentum. I mean, if you believe in yourself that your team can't be stopped, and you believe at any time that your team will win,
You get a
become
swagger.
victorious, you get a swagger about you.
And you carry the momentum from
Minnesota's
weekend to
going to come
week.
back. Minnesota is not going to have to travel anywhere. Minnesota's going to come into their stadium, know that they're better than Philadelphia Eagles.
They're playing at Philly.
How are they playing at Philly?
Philly's the number 1 seed.
Oh, Carson Wentz.
I don't think,
man. Get well.
I don't think it matters. Well, I mean, if Carson Wentz was here, this would be a whole completely different conversation.
Get well, man.
I would probably
Would
pick
you
the
really
Eagles.
pick him?
This is where I'm going right now. It's hard to root against the Vikings because. All right, let me walk you through a story right now. Then you know if I'm going with the story. I'm sitting in B-dubs with my girlfriend. Me being a football head I am, Daniel probably went through the same thing. I'm thinking this game is over. We've seen this a million times.
10 seconds left.
They get the ball back. First, he shoots himself in the foot with a false start, and you're like, Jesus Christ, this game is over. You guys will win out like champs. Then Case Keenum hit a pass. And I looked at my girlfriend, and she said, the Vikings, he's going to win the game because he's playing like there's $1 million in the line. Mind you, that I was just like, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm not a sexist. My girlfriend has just never watched it. This is her first time watching a full football game. But then the very next play,
She's right. Touchdown.
Case Keenum hits Stephon Diggs, last second touchdown. And she just looks at me. And me, 10 years of playing football, and I'm just like, wow. Because I don't want to look at her because I don't want to face the fact that she was right.
Did you concede?
I did. I told her that you were right. And I think how she knew how this game was going to go because the aura around the Vikings.
Yeah, they're playing with something special. They're playing with something no team in the playoffs right now has.
They know they can get home field advantage at the Super Bowl. Like, nobody has ever had that opportunity.
There was an excitement in the stadium when you watched before the game was played. The fans were wild. They were rowdy.
Feel it.
The fireworks. They were just the
they
horn.
Have the
when they
horn.
blew the horn. It was just like, who wants to play here in the Super Bowl against their home team? Who wants to do that?
Yeah, I mean, are they allowed to bring the horn? I mean, the Super Bowl is supposed to be a neutral site, so
It's
are they
not gonna
allowed?
be neutral at all.
We know it's not going to be neutral.
There's no team in the playoffs right now that's even near Minnesota, and so all the tickets will be bought by Minnesota fans.
You already know Minnesota fans are going crazy right now. I mean, the Eagles have their underdog max, but you don't have the same aura.
Nah, everybody feels in the football community that you're just like a dog that needs to die.
Do you know what this reminds me of? Trent Dilfer, 2000. We all thought that Ravens team was like, oh my god, they have Trent Dilfer at quarterback. They're not going to be that good. They had a great defense.
Yeah.
They had Ray Lewis, and they were animals. Then my second feeling, I have another Ravens team, and I know, Ravens team again. Super Bowl a couple years back, or more than a couple years back. We have the blackout. 49ers are up on the Ravens. We think the game's going to be a blowout. Then you have the blackout. It's like a 30-minute delay. Then what happens next?
I mean, I'm watching the Super Bowl, and I think it's over. And all I know is they kick the ball deep, regular kickoff. And
he wasn't supposed to return it.
This guy, Jacoby Jones, we all take a knee. I mean, just try to get some yards.
The coach told him to take a knee.
And he takes off. Longest kick return in Super Bowl history, like 106 yards, all the way. And you knew right then and right there the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl.
And the thing is, before that, it was just a miracle season. Ray Lewis gets hurt.
That last ride.
He comes back and he says, this is my last ride. I'm going to retire. The Ravens team gets behind him. Ed Reed is fired up. Flacco's fired up. Peter's fired up. Anquan Bolden is fired up.
The recipe for a Super Bowl victory is skill, talent, execution, and luck.
Not Andrew Luck, because we've seen how that's been going for him. But luck. Come
on. Kick a man while he's all the way down.
Yeah. Tom Brady put him there. Talking about Tom Brady, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say there's much to talk about in the AFC Championship game. There is. There's actually seriously a lot to talk. It's probably not 14 minutes worth to talk about. But there is enough to talk about for the next 5-10 minutes.
Patriots are my boys forever. However, I am a little afraid that Jacksonville defense is fast and moves around.
Jalen Ramsey,
everybody can fly. Calais
Telvin
Campbell is a
Smith.
physical freak of nature in the top.
Can I jump on that point real quick?
Go ahead, man.
All right. I'm gonna walk you through 2 things you need to beat Brady. Number 1, to beat Brady in the playoff, need a good quarterback. Flacco, the Manning brothers, Big Ben. These are the guys who put Brady out the Super Bowl. Out of the playoffs. But the number 2 thing, probably more important than having a good quarterback, you have to pressure Brady.
Yeah.
Flacco had Terrell Suggs. Big Ben had James Harrison. Eli Manning had JPP.
Michael Strahan.
Osi Umanero, whatever the hell his name is. And Peyton Manning had that boy Von Miller. You think the Jags have the tools to pressure Brady?
I feel as if they use them correctly,
Calais Campbell.
If they just let them hunt, then Patriots might be in some trouble. What I am hoping for is that they try to do more than they need to. They try to go outside of the box. What I'm actually hoping for is that they leave Bouye on Brandon Cooks. I'm not saying Brandon Cooks is as close to AB, Antonio Brown.
Oh, Brandon Cooks is a beast, though.
But he has that speed, and Bouye we saw in the AFC division of playoffs, he can't really cover that deep ball that well. Now, Brady doesn't throw a great deep ball, but he's Tom Brady. He'll get the ball to the guy.
Can I have him piggyback on a point? Where I see the difference of this game is Big Ben was not a precision passer as Tom Brady. They play Big Ben well because Big Ben is a gunslinger. He reminds me of Brett Favre. Tom Brady will put the ball where he needs to put it. There are holes on that defense. They're not big holes because that's a really good defense. Don't get me wrong. I love that. I think they're number 1 and they're number 2 in pass defense.
One of the top defenses in the league.
I love that Jacksonville defense, but they do have holes. They are young players. Jalen Ramsey is a young cornerback. He has never played against Tom Brady. Miles Jack has never played against Tom Brady in the playoff. They never had big moments like this. And Tom Brady will take those little holes and he'll make them into valleys.
It's like an itch that you can't get to, and Tom Brady is that itch, and Bill Belichick is the one who won't help you find that itch.
More accurately, it's like an itch you can't get to, and Tom Brady not only finds the itch, but he blasted it off with a shotgun.
Blake Bortles is in trouble this week. He will not be perfect in the red zone like he was.
Bill Belichick already has a
Bill Belichick
has a play. He has a program for him.
In a way, is a predator toward young quarterback.
He loves them. He loves young quarterbacks.
It's like he's salivating. I said this last week. He's salivating the chance.
Okay, hold on. Predator as in animal. Animals, predator, prey. That's what we're going for right now.
Blake Bortles threw a touchdown pass to his fullback.
That wide open fullback. Will that be there versus Bill Belichick?
And Matt Patricia would not have a fullback streak from the backfield.
Wide open.
Blake Bortles, that offense, the team, I'm sorry, I'm not going to say the offense, but again, 45 points.
Does not happen against New England.
45 points by the Jacksonville. There's not that many variations to the offense of Jacksonville.
Can I talk Blake Bortles real quick?
Go ahead, man.
If I'm Blake Bortles, right now I'm watching a lot of film, and I'm not going to overextend myself. I'm not going to try to make that play. Eli Manning used to make that play, but that was just Eli Manning, and that's because every time Eli Manning made it to the Super Bowl, it was on some crazy, wild, mystic run.
Yeah.
He's not Peyton Manning. How you beat Belichick is how you beat Belichick's defense, you take your safety valves. You run the football. You take what he gives you. Because there's going to be things that's going to look open, and you're going to throw it there, and Bill Belichick's going to have a linebacker or a D lineman drop, and you're going to get picked off. Don't ride that way from last game. Because you said you have a point?
One big thing. Jacksonville's O-line needs credit.
They do.
However, Steelers didn't have James Harrison. Guess who does have James Harrison?
Oh, you know what's so funny about that?
He's inspired.
The Steelers are like, oh, James Harrison's going to get the Patriots our plays in the AFC Championship. Well, Steelers, you're home. James Harrison is in the AFC Championship game.
James Harrison, that defense, one thing I've seen is that obviously no one does well against pressure, but the combined pressure and Blake Bortles combined that he has to live to a bigger moment. and he's playing against a much better
That's what I'm
defense,
saying. He can't ride the
and
momentum.
he's playing against a much better pass rush at certain points, especially down in the red zone. They'll let you get down there,
Yeah, they will.
but Leonard Fournette.
They won't let you
They're
score.
not going to let you score. You'll be kicking field goals, and Brady, all Brady needs is a chance.
I think Bill. Well, I don't want to go against the Jags again because I completely disrespected Blake Bortles and I apologize to him.
So who are you picking?
I know I'm going with the Patriots.
Okay.
Because Blake Bortles, I say he wasn't going to win on the road against a veteran quarterback. He did. The thing is, Mike Tomlin is no Bill Belichick. What Mike Tomlin and still the defensive backs allow him to do, Bill Belichick and the Patriots defensive backs would not. He needs not to ride that wave. If he rides that momentum wave and he comes in thinking he's the next gunslinger, he'll be embarrassed. He'll be sent home like Russell Wilson was sent home in the Super Bowl, like Andrew Luck was sent home in the AFC Championship game, like Marcus Mariota was. Am I missing any young quarterbacks? Marcus Mariota was sent home.
It's just a thing that Belichick does.
When Mark Sanchez first started,
he
Tyrod Taylor.
Tim Tebow.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow beat the Steelers. Same exact narrative. Tim Tebow beat the Steelers. Everybody was
decent. I mean,
yeah.
It was Tim Tebow magic, but Belichick doesn't buy into all that.
He doesn't. Like, Belichick, I mean, magic works against every other coach besides Bill Belichick. Well, I mean, I guess I kind of contradicted myself because I said the Giants earlier. But Tebow, good. You want to go on Tebow? Talk about Tebow.
Tebow had that aura. Everybody loved him, I guess. But
he beat the Steelers, just like Blake Bortles.
Everybody was talking trash, right? Everybody said that this team will beat Tom Brady. All right, just like Jalen Ramsey. He's young. He's playing on pure athleticism right now. Pure pride. And he's saying that they're just looking toward the Super Bowl.
You can't overlook the Patriots.
I understand, Jalen Ramsey. You're an all-world corner. You are a beast. But you are young.
Let me talk about that plan for something. Is Tom Brady playing for something? Think about it. He's the last statesman, the last gatekeeper of the Super Bowl. We'll normally see Rodgers, not there. Matt Ryan, not there. The Manning brothers, not there. Big Ben, not there. Flacco, not there. Drew Brees, not there. All these quarterbacks, they represent a generation. Besides Wilson, but Wilson has earned our respect. All these quarterbacks represent a generation of Super Bowl contenders. It's not Blake Bortles. It's not Case Keenum.
Definitely not Nick Foles.
Yeah, Nick Foles was a backup a couple weeks ago.
And Brady he's like the last one he's like you said, the last one at the gate.
He is.
He's the last elder statesman. And I think he's gonna play for that. I think he's also everybody's saying that it might be over, this might be the end of the dynasty. He's 40 years old, he's too old, the cliff's coming. I think Brady you're like they're poking the bear.
They are.
They're poking the bear. He's a sleeping giant. I think he goes through the motions sometimes. He's a fired up competitor on the field.
The NFL's acting like it's no place for old men.
Exactly. And I think he's there to prove to them that, like, yes, I'm still the GOAT. I'm still going to do this. And I feel like they're going to win this game.
And Brady's going to come out firing. And we're going to see Brady versus Minnesota. We're going to break that. We're going to actually have our projections for next week. Now, we're going to talk about some basketball. But before we leave, UFC 220s this weekend for all my MMA fans out there. I know I'm one. I had a couple guys subscribe, and they're like, hey, man, if we're going to keep listening to your podcast, or you and Daniel's podcast, my bad, Daniel, he was like, we need some MMA talk. And I was like, I got you, bro. You know me. I did MMA for a little bit. Let me talk about this real quick. Cormier. Do you think Cormier defends his light heavyweight title?
I think he does. I think he's going to be inspired. I read an article that he said that he's lived in Jon Jones' shadow for a while.
He has lived in Jon Jones' shadow.
And both times he held up the jewelry, but it was after Jon Jones out of the ring.
Did some cocaine or some stuff like that.
Like that. I think he's going to try to prove himself.
Drove a car full of hookers and on high, yeah.
He's definitely established, and he's a winner. And I think he's going to get it done.
I think if Cormier wins this fight, he's the GOAT. For light heavyweight. George St. Pierre is still my greatest of all time. But for light heavyweight, I'm going with Daniel Cormier. Listen to his resume. He beat Dan Henderson. He beat Anderson Silva. He beat Anthony Johnson twice. He beat Gustafsson. He lost by decision to Jon Jones, in a close decision. He lost by decision to Jon Jones, who was probably the greatest, or who was up for the greatest of all time.
Why he was doing steroids?
Why? And no. Then he came back, and John Jones knocked them out, but he knocked them out on steroids. That means John Jones felt that Daniel Cormier was a threat to beat him enough that he would risk it and go on steroids. He beat Anthony Johnson twice. Gustafson, Dan Henderson, Anderson Silva. His resume thing, he went up to the heavyweight division and dominated. He lost one match, and that's to John Jones. St. Pierre lost more than that. St. Pierre should have lost the Dan Henderson fight. So I'm not holding that one fight against him. You know what? I'm going to go out there. If he wants this fight, he joins the conversation, greatest of all time, with George St. Pierre, Demetrius Johnson. I take Anderson Silva out because Anderson Silva did steroids. Same thing with John Jones. So right now, my 3 is George St. Pierre, Demetrius Johnson. Demetrius Johnson is probably the greatest of all time, but no one cares because he's flyweight. And Daniel Cormier.
I'm going to defer to you on that. And the heavyweight matchup, I'm a rookie UFC fan, but I watched some highlights of this monster of a man.
Ngannou.
He is explosive in every movement. He is destructive in every movement. I think that might be the best way. When that man swings, he swings to hurt.
He does. I mean, let me do you a favor right now. If you have not seen Francis Ngannou knockout Overeem, Google it. Pause the podcast. Google it right now. Shoot me a comment about how you feel on it. You saw the knockout, right?
It was. I mean,
took his head off his shoulders.
Oh my!
Uppercut from hell.
Yeah, it was. If that man was any less of a man, he would be a prime suspect for murder.
See, I love what is his name? Stipe
Miocic.
I like Stipe, but it's funny because he's on a run. If he wins, I think he'll have the record for the longest heavyweight title defenses, which is 2. Heavyweight title division is a joke now. But Ngannou, he's the reason why I got out of MMA. Because guys like him, guys who are just overly aggressive for no reason, they want to hurt you. I mean, Ngannou, he told Stipe he wanted to hurt him so he would never fight again. And it wasn't like trash talk. Like when BJ Penn did it to GSP, we were like, all right, it's trash talk. I played. Ngannou believed it.
Ngannou reminds you of like
Tyson.
About those
Tyson. You can say Tyson.
I mean, I don't want to say Tyson, but like he literally will hurt you. And there's one person you want to see in a dark alley. It used to be Tyson. I don't want to see that man.
I don't want to see Ngannou 260 pounds just.
I don't want to see him in daylight.
Let me just walk you through a story real quick. Let me just before I don't want to make this half an hour long podcast. I hate those podcasts. It's funny. I'm at 20 minutes. The irony, right? He used to dig sand. Like, can you just imagine? Go Francis Ngannou, and you'll understand why. It's like this is a huge dude. He used to just dig sand. Imagine him just all day in the sun, sweating, digging sand. This sounds weird. I'm sorry. This is not a homoerotic podcast. No disrespect to anybody. I'm just saying. He's digging sand. All right. Then he's homeless on the street. This huge guy's homeless. Then he decides I'm going to walk into a boxing gym. Goes into a boxing gym and he's dominating the gym. Some guy is like, "Hey, Ngannou, you're a big dude. You should do MMA." And he's like, "I will throw my hand into MMA." 2 years later, he's fighting for the UFC heavyweight championship. That's impressive. This guy who spent decades fighting, racking up 30, 40 fights who don't get a chance in the UFC. And then to hear talk trash, where Stipe is like, "I fear no man," and Ngannou's like, yes you do. Stop lying. You do fear him. You do fear me. You don't feel like it's BS. You feel like he's really out here to take people's souls.
Yeah, I'm pretty afraid of that, man. I'm not a big UFC guy, but I'm gonna watch that. I just want to see somebody at that level
just hurt somebody.
Yeah, just take off his head, man.
Before we hit a half an hour, Daniel, let's hear your final conference picks.
All right, in the NFC, Minnesota will be advancing to the Super Bowl. In the AFC, I'm taking my boys, New England Patriots, for their 8th, I believe, or 7th consecutive.
Not consecutive, but 8th Super Bowl visit.
Yeah, 8th Super Bowl, Tom Brady.
I match his picks. I like Vikes New England in the Super Bowl. We'll talk about that next week. And if we're right or if we're wrong. Thank you for tuning in. This is a longer podcast. This is your boy John.
This is Daniel.
And this is a hot take with